Hello everyone, this is Josh Vision, and I'm here to give you my Season 1, Episode 1 review of The Gift. So we open up this episode meeting the character of Ati. So she's a talented artist. She seems to be in a really loving relationship with her boyfriend, and she seems to have a really close relationship with her best friend. Besides that, it seems as though she has a conflict with both of her parents, especially her mother, who feels though that her career being an artist is really below her, and that she should be doing a career that's more befitting of her, especially since it's obvious that she's about to get married soon to her wealthy boyfriend. In a way, her mother seems kind of bougie in a sense and kind of stuck up and snooty, but whatever, that's neither here or there. We meet her boyfriend's father, who seems to be a player, a rich player, since he has like two chicks on his arm. Besides that, we noticed that with her artwork, she has specific symbols which kind of look similar to each other, but there's a slight variance to them with each artwork that she does, which is ironic because it connects to like a symbol or symbols actually in this excavation site over in Göbekli Tepe essentially. So this excavation site is being worked on and headed by Professor Gerald, who's an archaeologist. And while being interviewed by these reporters, he's like saying the whole point of archaeology is to understand the present, interpret and that leads to interpreting the future by examining the past essentially. So while this is going on, we find that one of the people that's actually digging and like basically one of his archaeology partners actually found something down there, which connects to the symbols, which I mentioned a few moments ago. So he's interested by this. So is the reporter, and he tells the reporter that it's about the time for her to leave, essentially. So him and his right hand man, I believe they actually open, like they find out what's behind, the symbol on the wall, and they go into this area in which it's clear that human beings, used to live here around probably like 8,000, 9,000 years ago, essentially. So they get deeper and deeper into this space or this cave, essentially, right? And they find that it's blocked off by this thing of beeswax, essentially. So they stop right there, and the professor promises that they're gonna go further, like the next day. So news of this spreads, especially throughout the social media sphere, and Atia finds it on her phone, and she feels a connection to these symbols. So she feels though she has to go there and look at it herself. So she goes there, and when she goes to that setting, that town, she sees this girl, which looks very similar to the old woman who she sees earlier in the episode, because there's two times in which Atia actually sees this old woman. The first time is when she's getting measured for her dress for her art show, and the second time when she's actually at her art show and everything is like going well. And this old woman just staring at her, kind of in a stalker and kind of in a stalkish, stalkerish kind of way. And every time Atia tries to pursue her, she disappears out of the thin air. So this girl, looks exactly like her, except obviously she's a much younger version. So she's not saying anything to Atia really, but she's kind of using sign language, and she's directing Atia to the location of the excavation sites where the symbols are. So there, Atia asks for someone to tell Professor Gerald to meet her. So they meet up, and she tries to explain to Gerald her connections to the symbols, and he's like, this is kind of by coincidence, this is nonsense, so on and so forth. So he tries to send her on her way. So while she's in the car trying to find a way to see those symbols, her boyfriend calls her, and he's rightfully pissed off at the fact that she left without telling him. So later on in the night, her and this same girl who basically guide her to the excavation site, they go in the middle of the night while everyone's like either asleep, I remember, either asleep or they're busy with something. And she leads her to where the symbols are at, essentially, right where they're at. And before Atia can get any deeper, I believe she's kind of forced out by Professor Gerald, I believe. And he says if she goes any further or comes back again, he's going to call authorities. And I believe Atia mentioned the fact that this girl led her here to begin with. And he didn't really believe her, and he just was kind of indifferent to her. So the next day, she's in the car. She gets a call from her boyfriend, and he proposes, and she accepts. So ironically, when he proposes to her, she finds out, well, Professor Gerald comes to her car and says, hey, we found that girl you mentioned, right? And everything kind of ends right there. So the episode's pretty good, actually. I believe the last image of the show of the episode is actually like a drawing and like some purple crystals surrounding it. So yeah, that's the absolute last thing they have in the episode, I believe. If I missed anything, please write some comments down below in the comment section. I would give this episode like 7.5 out of 10. I'm looking forward to watching more of it. It seems like it's actually a really good series to continue on watching. So yeah, thank you guys for seeing my review, and yeah, adios.